This video is dedicated to Christian Roberts. Christian, thank you. Phylath World Sculptor versus Nicol Bolas the Ravager with a 1-lander in a deck that cares about the amount of lands we've got, so we'll have to knock that back and get into another 1-lander. We're on the draw. Do we risk this one or do we go down to 5 cards? Actually quite like that one. If we can get into another land, it's actually pretty good. So why don't we get rid of the Roiling Regrowth, because I like the idea of Regal Force with the Scoot Swarm. If we don't break the client with Scoot Swarm, that is. Our opponent gets off to a fast start, but we get into the land that we needed at least. I don't think this will really help them to get into their commander unless they go for some kind of colour producing mana rock, which they may well be able to go for. Yep, there is Fallen Shinobi. That won't do them much good. We'll go for 3 visits, and I think we're alright to go for a forest with this, because Cultivate can grab us a couple of mountains next turn, so we don't need to rely on the dual lands. Oh, I thought this was the one that cared about your graveyard. No. Exile the top 2 cards of the library and you can play them without paying the mana cost. Alright, so they're definitely going to make use of that then. Yeah, the Mana Vault doing some good stuff. Let's go for the Cultivate. We'll just have to try and keep our game plan intact as best we can. Oh, and total lapse of concentration. Decided to grab some forests instead of mountains. Whoops. Good job we've got a fistful of green things to cast. Now deciding to untap the Mana Vault. And this time they get a land and a Wayward Sawtooth. And manage to play their own land for the turn. We get back that Roiling Regrowth. Yeah, we'll just have to keep going with the ramp plan because we didn't manage to get into a land here, unfortunately. Would have been nice to go for Scoot Swarm and then in for Roiling Regrowth, but we'll do that next turn and keep our fingers crossed that our opponent won't get anything really good and actually go for some mountains this time. Now our opponent's got enough permanents to swing in with the 5/5. They get a Spring Bloom Druid and a Conjurer's Closet. Wouldn't have thought the Conjurer's Closet would do them much good. They're going to sacrifice our mountain by the looks of it, which is good because we've got Ancient Green Warden, so we can play at least 1 land out of the graveyard. I dare say our opponent's holding up some blue mana for us for a counter spell, or maybe they just tap out here. Might be Hymn to Torak or something like that. Looks like an X-Spell the way the mana's going down. Yeah, it is Rakdos's Return. X damage to a target opponent. That player discards X cards, so that's us done for here. Return of the Wild Speaker is completely useless. Let's just play out our commander for the fun of it. And it looks like another big X-Spell from our opponent. Managing to use our own ramp against us thanks to the Fallen Shinobi. So it's a Death Cloud this time. And we go down to -3, so that's us done. If the game doesn't tell us that we've lost, yeah, we'll just concede to save time. I don't know if we're coming up against a lot of Nicol Bolas decks recently, or if it's just the same player. I can't remember. I've come up against another spiky Nicol Bolas deck recently. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed that one. And we'll try and get another game going. Now, who've we got this time? Cazur Ruthless Stalker, one of the new partner commanders. Don't think I've played against this one yet. That's a slow start for us, but we're on the draw, so let's keep it. Every chance that we get into a land for the Kodama's Reach. And our opponent has a turn 1 Dork. Alright, there's a turn 2 play for us at least. Incarnate Expedition. Keep our fingers crossed for that land. Another Dork for them. And there's the land we wanted. So let's go for the Expedition. Ready for the landfall next turn. And we can play Kodama's Reach next turn as well. So this will have the 2 counters on it. And it's 3 it needs to get us into a couple of lands. And now us getting into the new Minotaur, haven't had a chance to play with that one yet. Let's make a land. Say yes to the Calney Heart Expedition. Our opponent got into Ivy Lane Denizen, by the way. Which is... oh, I thought that was a card draw one. Whenever another green creature enters, put a plus counter on target creature. Kodama's Reach for us. Grab a green and a red. Red can go in tapped. And next turn we'll be able to crack the Calney Heart Expedition. Don't know if we will or not. Might wait until our commander's in play. Our opponent seems to be struggling on lands. Managing to get down their commander, they're going to swing in at us with a 2-3. This thing gets a plus counter on itself. So what do we do here? We could distract our opponent with a Nissa Vital Force, get them to turn things sideways over there. This might be a 5-5 by next turn, if they manage to make another creature, so we won't be able to block with the land necessarily. Yeah, let's play a land anyway. And I think we have to go for Explosive Vegetation. Yeah, let's go for that. It's an expensive spell and it'll get more mana into play. Go for a couple of mountains. Then just for the sake of having more mana, we will probably go for the Calney Heart Expedition at the end of our opponent's turn. That'll give us 9 mana at least next turn. Or maybe we just start making some big creatures to keep these things from swinging in. Turns out they would have had a creature that we wouldn't have wanted to block with our 5-5 land, so I'm glad we didn't go for Nissa. And that puts a plus counter on itself, so a couple of 4-power creatures coming in at us. We plummet down to 19. So if we go 4, 5 and 6, we could get into a land next turn to play Sakura Tribe Elder. I think I'd just rather go for our commander and make landfall to get some big creatures in the way of these ones that are wanting to swing in. Yeah, more landfall enablers for us. Go for the Phylath and get 7 plant tokens in the way, so they're going to need some trample at this point. We'll not go for the expedition yet because it might deter them from swinging in. We could pile on a bunch of plus counters onto one plant and get rid of one of their attackers. Mist Cutter Hydra being cast out of our opponent's hand. They did have 6 in hand, and now they're down to 5. Vizier of the Menagerie lets them play creatures off the top, so it's worth keeping track of. Haste, Pro Blue, and X plus counters on it. Yep, not really worried about that. Then the Denizen is going to get to put a counter on something. That goes on the Menagerie. Now let's see if they want to turn anything in sideways. Looks like they are doing. So in response to that, let's crack this and make landfall a couple of times. Go for a couple of forests here. Yeah, there's some big toughness here is the only problem. I think I would like to... I think we get rid of the Menagerie would be the best thing. I think that's potential card advantage. Could always block with our Phylath actually, ready to recast it later on. So now there's a couple of 4-5s and a 5-5. Do we want to get rid of our commander? Maybe we go for Nissa next turn. And then we'll have 4 mana left. 5 mana if we tap down the creature. Yeah, let's get rid of some of their stuff here. We'll trade commanders. No, actually. We could make a lot of landfall next turn and make some of the plants even more of a threat. So let's just go like that. And we'll keep a couple of plants behind. They'll get some more plus counters on their stuff. Alright, Verdant Catacombs, that's really nice. I think it's time to go for... Do we just landfall like crazy? Yeah, I don't know if we're going to have time for Nissa here, really. Yeah, let's concentrate on Solemn. Grab ourselves a mountain. Put some plus counters on another plant. Go for Cultivate as well. And we'll go for a forest and a mountain because the Valakut can grab us a forest. Play the mountain in tapped. And again, spreading the threats around, putting plus counters on a different plant token. Then we'll play Sakura Tribe Elder as a combat trick. And Verdant Catacombs as a combat trick as well. So now we can pile plus counters onto one of our plants. In fact, do we just have enough damage to take our opponent out here? I'm not sure. We probably do, actually. Yeah, that's... Yeah, our opponent was just working that out, I think. They should wait for us to actually do it, because we might not have seen that. I almost didn't there. 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. 25. And then make landfall another couple of times is a further 8 counters. So that's 33. So yeah, didn't see it until the last second there. Thankfully I would have seen it, so I don't feel too bad about our opponent scooping up there. That was actually a more entertaining game than we typically get in 1v1. There's a lot of spikes around here nowadays. I think we will try our luck with another one, and that can be it for today. Well, we're not doing well on the opening hand front, are we, in this video? Chulane, Teller of Tales this time. Yeah. Well, we could go for the Wheel of Fortune, I suppose. Maybe our opponent keeps a good hand. We're on the draw again. Yeah, let's try and rely on Wheel of Fortune here. If we get into a green source in the first couple of turns, and there we are, we can go for Miri's Guile. And that might actually encourage us to not go for Wheel of Fortune at all. Anyway, get down a forest, get down the Guile. And our opponent is just running out basics and passing. No blue mana yet, thankfully. Now what have we got? Just a bunch of lands on top. So, I think we get out the Myriad Landscape there, don't we? Let's go Mountain, draw into the Wooded Foothills next turn. And play the Myriad Landscape, because it's a tap land, and we can make use of that later on in the game. May well just go for Nissa next turn, instead of going for the wheel, because it doesn't look as though our opponent's doing incredibly well on mana. Although they'll get themselves into blue with the Wood Elves. May well see Chulane next turn. Okay, just more lands on top. Let's go Mountain. We'll put the Wooded Foothills back. I don't think it really matters, does it? Yeah, we'll grab the Prismatic Vista. And then play Prismatic Vista. And we'll get out double green for the Nissa. And plus to make a plant token. If they swing in with the Wood Elves, we'll probably just keep the plank because it's more valuable to us with our commander. Alright, a Rishkar, so it looks like they missed a land drop there. These will tap for mana. So, yeah, they're definitely going to get their Chulane in next turn, potentially. That jumps up to a 2-2, so I'm actually more willing to block with a plant now. And now it's a Sol Ring and an Ancient Green Warden, okay. I don't really want to shuffle any of those away. So, we'll go Mountain, Green Warden and Sol Ring. Play the Sol Ring straight away. Plus on Nissa, we'll play a Mountain. And we will go in for the Panharmonicon, which will go very nicely with our commander. Don't mind emptying our hand too much because of the Wheel of Fortune. Like I said in the beginning of the game, I thought we were going to mess up our opponent's hand with that, or try to. But yeah, it's actually looking like it's just going to be good card draw for us. We will take 2 damage to Nissa and 3 damage to the plant. Our opponent's still not managing to make lands. And going for the Bant Charm to destroy a target artifact. Exploration. Might be good off of the back of a Wheel of Fortune. I think Ancient Green Warden would be good at this point. Ancient Green Warden and Exploration would be good, so let's play a land from the graveyard but not shuffle. Yeah, we'll play the Ancient Green Warden because I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. Go for the Prismatic Vista is fine. And we're not going to crack that. Don't forget to plus on Nissa. So they'll struggle to get any damage through to her next turn, I think. And there is Chulane. Our opponent eventually manages to get a creature into play. Or get a land into play, I should say. Still not going to shuffle because we want that Explore. That will help us ramp nicely. Yeah, Gruul Signet is... Yeah, it's a bit late for that really, so let's get the Exploration. Play that out straight away. And then we'll crack the Prismatic Vista. Go for a red source. And then it's in for our Phylath here. Don't make too many plant tokens, but We can always throw this away at some point and then replay it again. Prismatic Vista out of the bin again. We're going to get double triggers thanks to the Ancient Green Warden. So let's put some plus counters on that plant and some on there as well. And then we can play an additional land, so let's go for the Windswept Heath as well. And we'll spread the plus counter triggers around again. And then I think, yeah, we'll just plus on Nissa and we'll try and get up to the limit break. It's -7, and we'll draw a bunch of cards equal to the number of lands we control. We can go for combat tricks in the form of cracking fetches. Yeah, I'm happy for them to gang up on this plant if they want to. And yeah, I won't go in with the Ancient Green Warden because I'd like to keep playing with that. Returning the Rishkar to their hand with the Chulane. And then it's a Wrath of God. I don't think we can do anything about that. We keep our Planeswalker at least, so it's not really the end of the world. Yeah, we'll allow it. Might even just go for Ugin. Got to do a little bit with the Ancient Green Warden at least. I was thinking of making a Yarok Elemental Lands Matter deck. I don't know if that'll work. It might be too many tactics wrapped into one deck, but yeah, I was thinking of going for something like that, so have to let me know if you're all interested in that or not. Rhythm of the Wild, I don't mind. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana for the Ugin if we don't crack the fetches. Yeah, I think Rhythm of the Wild is okay to go for here because we might want to play that before our commander if they have any free counter magic or anything like that. Plus on the plant, play the Blighted Woodland, and then it's Ugin the Spirit Dragon, and fingers crossed that our opponent doesn't scoop. It'd be fair enough if they did at this point, yeah. It is fair enough. I mean, we're going to run away with it from here, I think. Let's just have a look at the top cards. We knew about the top two. Probably would have shuffled all of this away anyway. But yeah, at this point, we're just going to amass a bunch more plants and then eventually get the limit break off with Nissa. Probably would get the limit break off with Ugin as well because we just have too many blockers in the way. Our opponent was just a bit too slow there, unfortunately, and we didn't have the best start either, but we managed to get into a Sol Ring. That Miri's Guile was really, really good for us, filtering our draws. Very underplayed card. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed this video of Phylath World Sculptor. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up if you did, and hit subscribe to get us up to 6,000 as quickly as we can. Big thank you to you all if you decide to do that. I'm tribalkai on the eedi-H channel. Thank you for watching.